So we got Microsoft up here on the board. As you can see, they did pretty well as far as geniuses go. Been doubted to be killed by the SaaS. SaaS is dead because of, and you see that ghost of AI. I did a video about it. It's a ghost of AI. It moves from one person to the next. Everybody's scared about something. Something dead. Google dead. Nvidia dead. Now Microsoft dead. But 18% year over year, a 1.5 billion beat, a good beat, a 68% margin, which is kind of ridiculous. Gross margin, operating margin is 46, and EPS is about $4.27, but it's pretty high at 22 cents per. So when we really look at it, net profit is 31 billion. I mean, come on, if they continue with this trajectory for the rest of the year, I mean, right? And I don't have evidence to think that they won't. And they're increasing their what's it called? Subscription fees coming up in June. They're increasing them across the board for all of their products and services. So they could be looking at 124 billion. Microsoft, what do you think about that, Jay, and that company? Is it dead? Is it going to get destroyed by Claude?
Yeah, so funny enough, you can kind of tell based on what I'm about to say how I thought when I was like a teenager or, like between 14 and 18 years old. Microsoft was another company that I actually loved when I was a kid. I loved Microsoft and Google. I hated Amazon and Apple. So you can probably figure out what my mindset was
Ha ha
like
ha.
back then. But I did love them as a kid, and so I started making investment decisions on Microsoft early on as well. Mostly just because I liked them. Like I said, nowadays my decision making has some political undertones, which is really like the flair. Like definitely, I think one of the things that puts investment decisions that I make over the edge is just being aware of geopolitics. Like, you don't gotta like care so much. You don't have to like read every single nook and cranny in detail. But when I'm aware of the general flow of geopolitics and I make just predictions of where I think things are going in that department, it adds a whole nother layer of information that was not available when I'm making an investment decision. And so for me, Microsoft is a company that is just like Google. You're looking at really, you're naming all the big time players right now. So these are easy like home runs that you're really pitching at me right now. So I'll go ahead and hit it though. Like this is just another wealth accumulator. This is a place where you put your money and you forget about it. That's how you treat Microsoft. And don't worry too much about it because if it goes down, you've got bigger problems than the fact that you just lost money. Our world's all of our services are too tightly integrated with Microsoft. They
Yeah,
they just are
enterprise
like
is crazy.
like
Yeah.
like from the Windows operating system, which still powers all of our world, our governments. You know what I mean? Our corporations, they all are still running on Windows, despite the fact that I know people's personal computers they like to use Macs. It's all Windows in the corporate world and in the government world. Sorry. And
Yeah.
just the Azure systems, you see the intelligent cloud, right? Like 34 billion. Gosh, that's so funny. They're calling it intelligent cloud now, but that is basically Azure, is what that is, Azure services, which is basically a competitor to AWS and GCP. GCP being the Google Cloud platform. You can think of those as three big competitors to each other. So you got AWS, which I've spoken about at length. You got Microsoft's intelligent cloud, which is really Azure, and then you have GCP, Google Cloud Platform. And those three are basically the same thing in a sense because they're big cloud providers, right? Build a data center, like run all the logistics and the IAC. But Microsoft, as they always do brilliantly, they've actually cornered the market when it comes to government clients. They were the first to build a gov cloud, and the government mandated basically that, if you're going to use cloud services, because for all the reasons we described, it's kind of a pain to have your own data centers. If you're going to use a public cloud, then it's going to have these specific restrictions on it. Oh, Microsoft was on it, like white on rice. Like they immediately built out a huge gov cloud program, and nobody else had it. Even to this day, Google's still trying to catch up, building a compliant, gov cloud program to get some of that revenue because the way Google works, it's complicated to do. They actually had to build a virtual gov cloud when they found a loophole like Google would do to actually meet the compliance requirements. But Microsoft was like, no problem. We'll dedicate as much capex as we need to build this out, and we'll provision you all the private space you need, and then bam, locked in with infinite government revenue, taxpayer revenue for decades. So like
Yeah.
I said, if you lose money on Microsoft, if you treat it like a wealth accumulator, and by you I mean you, brother. I'm not talking to the people out there.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
treat
yeah,
it like
yeah.
a wealth, if you treat it like a wealth accumulator, and it fails, you have much bigger problems than the fact that you just lost some money. Like, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
means
exactly.
something significant went wrong in society if Microsoft just was to flatline. So
Exactly.
that's it's a bigger problem than just some cash that you never touched anyway.